What's going on, guys? Zuko back with another Dragonflight video. This is the last one, baby. We made it. This is the last range DPS video that we're going to make before the tier list comes out. We've got them all. We've got Evoker done. We had the Hunters done early, and then we had the Mages. And then I did a Warlock one, and then Evoker. And then the other two Warlock specs, and then Boomkin. And then Ellie Shaman I mixed in there, too. We got them all. So I'm excited to get all these done and to show them to you guys and to finally get the tier list done. So let's jump into it. Let's talk about Boomy. So Boomkin has been, honestly, Boomkin's been a struggle. And they've been nerfed pretty hard in terms of the Starfall nerfs that have come in multiple times for the chicken. And I feel kind of bad. However, I watched a bunch of other videos of some other guys doing it who are certainly going to be better than me. I've modified my build a little bit, and I do think that Boomkin can actually survive in the Mythic Plus environment. So just remember, this video is primarily about a Mythic Plus environment, and this is what I'm showing you today is going to be at level 70 in Dragonflight. I'm on the beta. I do have a tier set bonus. I'll talk about that a little bit later, so just keep all that stuff in mind. So the TLDR for Boomkin is that I do think that it's actually okay. I don't think it's in the best place that it possibly could be, and there's some mechanics that you have to really keep track of on Boomkin. Namely, your Eclipses for one, and then also your Rattle the Stars buff. I'll get to that in a second as well. So those kind of, having to maintain both of those can sometimes be really frustrating, and you can lose track of stuff, and it makes playing this spec sometimes more difficult than it's really worth. So let's talk about the class tree, then I'll do spec tree. You know the drill, okay? I'll get into some video footage in a minute. The class tree for Druid is also a bit of a mess. For example, if I want to come down here and get Incapacitating Roar, I have to take Thrash, Swipe, Iron Fur. Those are all useless. Finally, I get to Thick Hide. 6% less damage taken is very strong. Oh, there's a Twitch going off there. And then the Barkskin one is very strong. When you use Barkskin or Survival Instincts, you get a bubble. So if I hit Barkskin right here, I got 20% DR and a bubble. That's very strong. Then you get Incap Roar, which is what I'm looking for. So they're all good. But you have to sacrifice like 3 talent points at the top here that literally do nothing for you. Compare that to even the Warlock class tree that I was looking at in the last couple of videos. There's useful things you can pick up in the top part of the tree that aren't like literally useless to you. They're like, you know, extra Soul Leech or maybe some cooldown on your Unending Resolve. This is literally just like Thrash, Swipe, and Iron Fur, which never. So that's really annoying. You do, however, get 5 extra yards of range, which is very significant because all your stuff has a 45-yard range now, which means that Boomkin is the longest ranged caster in the game. Marksman Hunter is the other range DPS that would probably have a longer range than Boomkin, depending how much mastery they're stacking. The mastery for Marksman Hunter gives them more range. So, but Boomkin has 45 yards of range, so much more convenience for you in terms of reaching all those targets that are far away. That's pretty cool. Lots of forms of CC. Of course, you have Hibernate, Cyclone, Typhoon, Ursals, and Mass Entanglement, and Incap Roar. So pick and choose, whatever you want. Pick your poison. I was watching a video of a Boomkin guy, and he was using Typhoon and Incap Roar, and he was also using Solar Beam. So he had 3 AoE interrupts, which was disgusting. He basically handled all the interrupts for the entire group, which is very, very cool. Something you can do if you really want to. Besides that, we have Soothe as well. You have Stampeding Roar, of course. A couple defensives there with Renewal at the bottom here. So the real, like, main takeaway, there's a couple things that you really need to take. I think the Barkskin stuff's really important, and Thick Hide. These 2 talents are really important. This talent's important. Like Kara's Teachings gives you 6% more mastery, which is really good. That just increases your damage while your dots are on people. And then you get Renewal, which is good as well. You can pick whatever you want on here. Ultimately, the Druid class tree is a little bit disappointing, but there are some good highlights, like the range, like the defensive stuff, and then some helpful team utility with Stampeding Roar and Incap Roar, Typhoon. Those are all really, really good for Mythic Plus to CC enemies. So, unfortunately, you have to sacrifice some stupid stuff at the top here. 4 talent points you'll probably never use unless you're really trying to do like a mechanic where you have to soak, right? And you could pop into bear form, but you don't even have enough rage to hit Iron Fur. So it's a bit of a yikes there, but that's okay. Let's move on to the spec tree. This is a solid build I think you could go with for Mythic Plus. Highlights are, of course, the playstyle for Boomkin is that you're getting Eclipse. If you don't know what Eclipse is, after you cast 2 Starfires, you get your Solar Eclipse. If you cast 2 Wraths, you get Lunar Eclipse. So, basically, when you're on a single target fight, you want to make sure you have Solar Eclipse up as much as possible, because it makes your Wrath do more damage, which is your single target ability. And then when you're in AoE, it's not a bad idea to start an AoE fight with 2 Wraths to get you into Lunar Eclipse, so that your arcane spells are doing more damage and your Starfire gets more crit. That's pretty important. So you have to manage your eclipses. And then there's this over here called Rattle the Stars. This is a buff that you get to keep up on enemies. Let me... So, what does it mean? It says that Star Surge and Starfall reduce the cost of Star Surge and Starfall by 5%, and their damage by 10%, stacks up to 2 times. So, you want to try and maintain 2 stacks of Rattle the Stars all the time, because that means your Starfall will be 10% cheaper, okay? And you're going to combine that with Incarn and Elune's Guidance, which also reduces the cost of those abilities. So, it'll reduce the astral power of Starfall by 8. So, 10% off Starfall plus 8. So, that's 10% of 50 is 5 plus 8. So, now you're at 13 astral power less, which is pretty good. That means it's about 37 astral power, I think, to cast Starfall, which is really, really good. When you're in Incarn, that's what you want to be doing. But you'll see there's a buff on the bottom that's going to show up here. Let me just start casting here. Let me get these dots going. Okay. So, watch this. I'm going to use a spender and use another spender. You can see I have... Oh, my... I can see right here. My stupid... You can see it right there. The buff is going. It's in the top as well. Rattle the Stars. You want to keep that at 2 if possible. That's really what you want to be doing. Sorry, my stupid GCD thing's in the way, but it's not a problem. You get what I'm saying. You want to try and maintain this buff. That's the other thing you're kind of paying attention to. It's almost like BM Hunter's Barb Shot buff. You want to be maintaining that as much as possible. So those are some important highlights at the beginning here. Then we do go all the way down to Fury of Elune. That's also very good. In the middle, you're going to get Celestial Alignment. And in the video footage I'm going to show you, I took Orbital Strike, which takes a minute off the cooldown of CA, and then blasts enemies in front of you, and applies Stellar Flare. So it actually does a shitload of damage. But I think Primordial Arcanic Pulsar might actually be better. Because it gives you Celestial Alignment for 12 seconds whenever it pops. So you have your 3-minute cooldown, and then you're getting these CA procs. It's going to be about how often can you get the CA proc. That will be, like, how quickly can you spend 600 astral power. And I'm not entirely sure how much you can, but I'll try and show it in the video here. Otherwise, you're not taking Convoke. I took Convoke, actually, in the video footage I'm going to show you. I love Convoke. I just think that Incarn is way too good to pass up because of Elune's Guidance. So, Elune's Guidance is really so important. Reducing the astral power cost of those abilities is so critical to being able to cast those spells more often. So, that's pretty huge. Balance of All Things is good. We did take the Faerie stuff down here, and I think it's okay. I almost would rather go down and get Sundered Firmament. And maybe just get Radiant Moonlight. Like, I think you could easily just swap these out for over here if you wanted to. Every other Eclipse creates a Fury of Elune, and then Fury of Elune becomes a 45-second cooldown. That's probably okay, but I think the Faerie stuff's also fine. Whenever a Faerie does get summoned, you get 4% more damage for 30 seconds. So that's a really good buff, actually. 4% more damage is kind of crazy. So I don't know. That's a toss-up. Let me know what you guys think about that in the comments down below. Let me show you a rotation here. I'll show you what's going on. For the sake of your mastery, you need to have your dots on enemies. You have to have Sunfire and Moonfire up all the time. Part of what helps us keep Moonfire up is Twin Moons. Just remember that. You get an additional Moonfire going out. On top of that, our tier set bonus is very important, actually. The 4 set says when you enter Eclipse, your next Star Surge or Starfall costs no astral power and does more damage. This is really, really critical to keeping up our Rattle the Stars buff. When you get that free proc on Starfall, you can press it. It will help to maintain your Rattle the Stars buff, okay? That's pretty important. Oops, I don't want to be in kitty form. Just get this up. Okay, here we go. So we're going to get a free CA here, like, very quickly. So just get ready for that. We're going to start with 2 Wraths. Actually, we're going to start with our dots first and then our 2 wraths. So we're going to go like this. We'll just get Moonfire into... Oh, I messed that up already. Sunfire, Moonfire. I didn't mean to tap target over there. Here we go. Okay, we're going to go double wrath just to get our Starfire bonus. Okay, then we're going to do this. We got our Eclipse. Oops, I got to start casting Starfall. I'm an idiot. I'm playing this so poorly, guys. I'm very sorry. But you can see the damage coming down here now. So again, I want to weave a couple of Starfires in between each Starfall so that I can maintain it. That's what I want to keep doing. Our dots are not going to fall off, actually. Another cool thing is that your Starfire extends your dots, so you really don't have to keep refreshing them too much. Now, we're all out of our Incarn, so let's do real Incarn. There we go. This is the real Incarn now. Everything costs 13 arcane power cheaper. It's a lot cheaper to cast Starfall, okay? Every time we hit an Eclipse, we are, of course, getting that free Starfall. So we're going to try and cast 2 Wraths right now to get into an Eclipse. Wrath. I think we have to wait for our other one to fall off. So we just keep casting our spells. Here we go. I don't have to refresh my dots yet. You can see we're maintaining over 100k. This has been a pretty staple benchmark for all of my testing. Is any class that can maintain like 100k on these amounts of targets is pretty good. Okay, Starfall. We're ready to do our Eclipse. We're going to Eclipse here. There we go. We got our Eclipse. Free Starfall. Remember? And then we're trying to maintain our buff. Try to maintain our Rattle. Okay, our Rattle the Stars just fell off because we're really bad at this game. Okay, so we're going to do 1 Starfall. Then we're going to do another one to maintain Rattle the Stars. Let's keep maintaining. As soon as Rattle the Stars is about to fall off, you can see it in the top corner of my bar there. 2, 1, Starfall. Here we go. 2, 1, it's falling off. Starfall. Here we go. Keep it going. 2, 1, Starfall. There we go. It's falling off. And we're going to press Starfall. You can see I just keep maintaining that Rattle the Stars buff, and your Starfall will be so cheap every single time you do it. It's awesome. Oh, it's going to fall off there. That's okay. But that you see the idea, okay? That's a basic rotation, guys. You're kind of rotating between... Every once in a while, you want to sprinkle in 2 Wraths to get yourself an Eclipse. You want to get that Lunar Eclipse. And then you're going to be pressing Starfire all the time because you're doing AoE damage. It does AoE damage, right? So you're going to be getting that Solar Eclipse like all the time for free anyway. Okay? Let me switch over to here. Okay. So this is the damage breakdown. Lots of Starfall damage still. Moonfire dot really high there. Sunfire, Starfire. Our dot damage is really high because of Circle of Life and Death, of course. And we maintained a really good amount of damage there. Now, this is with the Arcanic Pulsar build instead of the Orbital Strike build. So let's see how many times we actually cast Incarn. So it looks like Incarn went off 3 times, even though we only cast it once. So in a 2.5-minute fight, that's insane. We got Incarn 3 times in a 2.5-minute fight. That's really, really good. Our Incarn buff was up for 1 minute and 6 seconds. 45% of that fight, we had our major cooldown up and running. Why? Because of Pulsar. So, if you've been looking at Orbital Strike thinking this is the only way to play, you know, Balanced Druid, think again, man. I think Arcanic Pulsar could be very, very good. Let me know what you guys think in those comments. If you play Balanced Druid, I'd love to hear from you. Yeah, it's just really, really good. You're combining it with Incarn is really huge because Incarn makes your CA last longer, right? It makes it last 10 seconds longer. So if you're getting the Pulsar buff, you know, you're getting it for 12 seconds, which is, you get that extra bonus. And of course, whenever our CA is up, whenever our Incarn is up, we're getting the reduced cost on Starfall, which allowed us to cast so many Starfalls, right? 32 Starfalls in a 2.5-minute fight there. So really, really, really good. So let's look at the dungeon footage. I'll show you some of the fights that I was doing. And I'll show you, you know, a couple of the places where I kind of went wrong. Keep in mind, guys, once again, I'm not good at this, right? I'm not the best Boomkin player by any means. I'm just kind of trying it out, trying to make sure that I get it down to the best of my ability. But here I was using Orbital Strike. You're going to see it here in a second when I pop Incarn. I was using Convoke. I think now I was also using Full Moon. I was trying like a Full Moon build. So you can see the damage that comes out here will end up being decent. It's not terrible, but I do think that this new way that I just showed you on the target dummies, I think it's better. You can see I get up to 94k here. You know, this is fine damage. It's not bad at all. But that's me using my big cooldown. So I do think that the Arcanic Pulsar way is just going to be better. I really do think it's going to be better for you. So I'll show you again at the end of the video. I'll show you the talent tree, and I'll link the talent tree down below, the one that I think is better. Not the talent tree that I used in here in this video, but the talent tree that I've used on the dummies that I think is going to be superior for you. So yeah, I'll show you that at the end. But the AoE damage isn't awful. It's really about making sure your dots are up, make sure you're maintaining those dots, and then try not to let that buff fall off. The one that I was showing you earlier. It's at the top of your screen right now. You can see it up here. This one up here, right? This is so important. The Rattle the Stars buff. You want to keep it at 2 as much as possible, and I wasn't doing a very good job of that at all in this dungeon. So I was trying, but I was failing. Let's be real. Here's another big AoE pull here. We pull all these in. I should have been using... Oh, my Solar Beam was on cooldown. I was like, I should have used Solar Beam here. I Convoke here. Convoke is still like a ton of fun and ends up blasting so much damage. Like if you get a Starfall out of a Convoke, that's 50 astral power that you saved. That's a really big deal, actually. It's much, much better than like... Feral Druid's actually okay for Convoke. It's not terrible, but like... I think for the amount that your spenders cost on Boomkin, getting a free Starfall from Convoke is really, really strong. However, I do think that Incarn is actually just better in the end. It's just going to be better for you, I promise. So, yeah, there we go. I got my big Incarn off once again. Just popping Starfalls, doing lots of damage. But again, it's just not... It doesn't feel like it's that good. I guess that's the ultimate thing that I would say for Boomkin at the end of the day here is like... It just feels like it's struggling a bit. That the numbers just aren't there. Like, they could just use, like, a 15 to 20% buff on all their damage. That's kind of how I feel. Again, I'm not playing this perfectly, so that's probably part of it. But I just feel like, in my experience, it's been really frustrating trying to... I'm pressing all my buttons that I possibly can, and the damage is just not there. That's kind of what it feels like. So, yeah, let me skip ahead here. This is a boss fight here, but I think I wanted to get to the other AoE. If I can. This is the first section of it. Might have been this one here. I have a full moon, I think, ready to go here. So you can see that the damage that comes through here will end up being pretty good. I should have popped... there we go. There's my Incarn. Popping it. Popping Starfall. We're doing lots of damage. Here comes full moon. Watch my damage. Right up to 90k, but 105k. There you go. But, like, you know, there's other classes in the game, like Marksman Hunter, BM Hunter, the Mage specs, like my Arcane Mage, can easily get above 100k on a pull like this. Even Affliction Warlock, Demo Lock, Destro Lock, they can all get above 100k easily, and they can maintain above 100k. So it just feels like Boomkin presses all the buttons correctly, and it's still a big struggle to get the damage numbers to be up where you want them to be. You're just like, this damage should just be higher. Like, I'm doing everything almost as perfectly as it could be. I don't know what I could be doing better here. In summary. Now, of course, I could be running a better build. That's part of it. But you know what I'm saying. It feels like it should just be easier to get this damage out there. And maybe with the build that I've shown you on the test dummies, maybe it would be easier. That is potentially the case there. So, but I did just want to show you footage that in a dungeon, that this thing can actually do damage. It does actually slap pretty well. This is Convoke right now. Getting as many Starfalls. One thing Convoke does do very well is Convoke will give you tons of astral power. We're back up to 86k, 90k. I think we get over 100k here, maybe. Maybe not. Yeah, there we go. We just peaked at 100k. So, it's not terrible at all. It looks clean. It looks good. It just feels like it's kind of hard to, like, pull it off. It really, you got to take your time to ramp up. And other classes' ability to do this much damage just comes much more easily than it does for Boomkin. Feels like you really got to work for it as a Boomkin. Like, you're sweating by the end just to pull off the same amount of damage that everybody else is kind of pulling off. So, that's what I wanted to show you there. I'm going to pause that for a sec. We're going to come back over here, get my webcam back up. I'm going to show you one more time the talents that I'm running for this build. You get all the CC over here from Incapacitating Roar. You get Typhoon. You get Stamp Roar for your friends. You get good defensives with Thick Hide and Matted Fur. And then on the build side, you got your Eclipse, of course, and you're trying to maintain your Rattle the Stars buff. You've got mushrooms to generate extra astral power for you, which actually end up doing a lot of damage over time. You've got Fury of Elune for some big damage over time. And did I even cast it back then? I did, right? Yeah. You got Fury of Elune there. And then the big thing, of course, is you've got Incarn with Pulsar. And I do think that Primordial Arcanic Pulsar is actually a good talent to take. I think it's at least competitive with Orbital Strike. I think this could be like a sleeper talent that people aren't really looking at very hard. You really should take Incarn over Convoke because Incarn makes your Astral Power stuff cost so much less. And you can just get all your damage out and not have to worry too much about how much it's costing you. It allows you to cast way more spells than you otherwise would, okay? You could take the Faerie stuff over here. I think that's fine. You could also take these two nodes down here, which buff your Fury of Elune, and they buff your, they give your every other Eclipse will cast a Fury of Elune. Let's just see how the damage looks there if I go into these other abilities over here. Let's just check this out one more time for you guys. I'll show you. So I'm going to start out with my dots. We're going to go like this. Sunfire. Let's get all the dots going. Okay. And then we're going to go Fury of Elune into my... There we go. And then we're going to do 2 charges of Starfire. That's going to get us an Eclipse, which gets us a free Starfall. Remember, we're trying to maintain our buff at the top here. Rattle the Stars. Let's maintain Rattle the Stars. We got another Eclipse here. Okay, we got an Arcanic Pulsar. We're in our Incarn right now for free. So we're able to maintain our buff easily while we're in Incarn. Now we're going to cast our real Incarn for right now. Oh, we got another Eclipse there. And let's go Incarn. There we go. Another Eclipse. So you can kind of channel like Eclipse into Eclipse into Eclipse, right? And that'll help you maintain your Rattle the Stars buff at the top of your screen. You can see it there. Okay? That's what you look. It's going to fall off right there. I feel really sad about that. Okay. Let's bank some Astral Power right now. We're going to get another Eclipse here. And, oh, we didn't get it there, but that's okay. We'll get it in a second. Okay. Let's maintain our buff. We'll have to redot everything here. Our dots are falling off. There we go. Starfall. We got a free Starfall. We're going to press it. Starfall. Look at the Fury of Elunes over there. Look at that damage. Like, that's way more fun, I think. I think this build just does more damage than the one I was using in the dungeon. That's just the bottom line there, I think. Our Rattle the Stars fell off because we're really bad at this game. But you can see, guys, this is how you want to play it. This is it right here, okay? Really, the tier set bonus is a big deal for Boomkin, more so than most other specs. Most other classes in the game don't have a tier set that matters. But this one really does. Because it helps you to get those Eclipses. And every time you get an Eclipse, you get a free cast of your spender, which is so insanely strong. So, there you go, guys. That's the build in a nutshell. That is Boomkin in a nutshell. Let me know what you guys think in the comments down below. I will link this build down below as well. And my Discord's link below, all that stuff. So go check that out. Let me know, Boomkins, if you guys are full-time Boomkins, what can I change about my build? I'd love to hear from you down in those comments. So thank you so much again for watching, guys. We are done the range DPS specs. I'm done testing them all. So I'm going to start working on the tier list video for range DPS that will be coming soon, okay, in the next couple of days. So thank you so much again. I love you all. I'll see you in the next one.